listening to the Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technological advanced silhouette decoys on the market. And Vortex Canada, the force of optics.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430, episode 81. Light crew again tonight. Philly is just getting off work from saving us from all the hippies down in Toronto. Dave is at the fire hall, but we got Mark with us, coming to us all the way from Ashton, Ontario. And we have the published author, ex-military, current subject matter expert for Vortex Canada, Mr. Reg Wales, who's my neighbor, I might add. Well, not right next door, but just down the road. So we got Reg Wales from Vortex Canada, finally able to get Reg on after, it's been it's probably been 8 months since we first reached out to one another. So we're finally getting you on, Reg, and that's been my fault, really, not yours. So welcome to the show, Reg. I know you listen to the show, so it's good to have you on, man.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Geez, that's quite an introduction, guys. All I need is a picture of me walking on water now, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
You can Photoshop that up.
Yeah. Sure. Oh yeah. I'll figure something out. I'll figure something out in editing. But no, Reg, like, this is awesome because like we always, we have a ton of great friends that we've met in the community, and through this whole Punisher Waterfowl and the podcasts and stuff. And we've had some real interesting people on and some experts on. And we have been saying for a long time the importance of optics and being safe and knowing your target and knowing what you're shooting at and all of that good stuff. But we've never really had anybody on per se that we could call an expert into it and explain a lot of the things. So it's great to have you on, buddy. And I really appreciate you taking, I know it's the evening and you guys are super busy. So give us a little bit of your background, Reg. I know it, but just so that the listeners can get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just a farm boy from Eastern Ontario. Grew up just outside of Hay Bay, actually on Hay Bay. My dad had a hobby farm down on County Road 9. So grew up down there. It's funny thinking back now, talking about it, and you guys being in for waterfowl. I used to skip school. Like, it was no high school was not my thing. It was just, I knew what I wanted to do in life, right? Pretty well like you. Like, I want to join the army, and that was it. Just guns, girls, and blowing things up. So I would just mark in time for school. Yeah. So being on Hay Bay and coming from a hunting family, I was down there pounding ducks as much as I could. I'd skip school and go down and do that and deer hunt and shoot coyotes and all that good stuff. And so that's where I spent my time as a kid. And once I turned 17, school wasn't for me. So I took off and did the army thing, right? So get mom and dad's, get mom and pop's signature, and off you go and do your thing. And that didn't work out very well after a while. A few years, it was about 6 years in, I got seriously wounded overseas on one of the ops overseas. And that ended my career. So after that, got my health back, went back to college, graduated from policing, knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. And long story short, I ended up landing here with Vortex Canada, and through a fellow that we both know, Peter Ray, introduced me to the owner of Vortex, and that's where I started. And she's just been a whirlwind ever since. Just been fast and furious.
That's crazy. I didn't know that Peter was your introduction into Vortex. That's really, really cool. What a small world, eh?
It is. And actually, the really cool side of that too is I was teaching his oldest boy firearm safety and hunter ed, and that's how I got to meet Pete, because he brought him into the class, and then we got talking. And a couple of days later, he said, "Hey, I want to go out in the range. Let's go out and do some shooting." And so we were out on the range, and I showed him a few things with optic. He's like, "Man, you got to come meet my boss, the owner." And so we set up a day. I went to Guelph. We had lunch, and Paul's like, yeah, you're coming with me. So, and
That's
I'm a
awesome.
lifer. Like, I bleed
Hey.
Vortex. There's no doubt about it. So it's, they're good people. It's a family owned company. And, it's funny because after I left the service, I can honestly say I was always looking for something to be a part of that again, that camaraderie. And that's why I went back to college for policing. But I found it. I found it right here with Vortex. Like, I'm just one of the guys, and everyone has a certain niche, and we all work together. And I couldn't ask for a better family to be a part of. It's been
Yeah,
good.
and I know some people are listening, they'll be like, oh yeah, here it comes. Because obviously they know that Vortex is a big part of the show. But you know, besides the optics and the gear and stuff, like, I've got a pretty good relationship with you and Neil, and I know Peter and stuff. Like, it is a very down to earth company that if you have questions, you just reach out. They talk to you like you're a normal human being. They get it, you know, they understand things. So it is a pretty cool thing. And I've Mark will know him, but our friend Craig Lalonde messaged me the other day, and he was talking about, he had said, you know, the people that you've had on the show over the last, 80 something episodes, he was like, every episode, I'm always amazed with how down to earth every one of the guests are. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? Like, you think that they're this big macho group of alpha males, and it's not the case whatsoever. It's just regular dudes that just love hunting and whatever. And they just, they've actually made, the cool thing is that they've actually turned it into a career, and it's paying the bills, right? So that's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah. I can honestly say, like, when we say this is a family, we truly care for each other, and there's no one shining star amongst the group. Everybody brings something to the table, and one thing I really appreciate when I working for Vortex Canada is, like, we're here to help you, and that's what Paul really puts out. That's what we do as a team. If you call me and I've got, I've fielded calls from people that are running other manufacturers' optics, and they're saying, especially during COVID, saying, hey, Reg, man, you help me out or help my buddy out on a different optic, but I'm running this optic by a different manufacturer. I'm having trouble. Can you kind of give me a hint how to fix her up? And I mean, we're going to help you out. It's like, it's just the way we are. So I'm a shooter. Eventually I'll win you over. You'll come over to the Vortex side eventually anyways. So it's all good.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's coming up for 2022 for Vortex? I know I'll steal a little bit of your thunder, because I know that this new scope that you guys just hit the market, I know everybody is pretty excited about that. And a lot of people are really excited because this is Gen 3, I think. So they're really excited about that. But and I'll let you talk about it. But what else is exciting for Vortex right now?
Well, I got one here to show you, so I'll pull that up in a second. There's a couple of really cool things that come up. Well, we don't have a lot of product to show you right now as it's coming out. But we do have that new scope, and I'll talk about it in a moment. We do have a new magnifier that just came out, so we're increasing the power magnification with that. In my eyes, a magnifier is a magnifier is a magnifier. If you got it 3 times, and when you step into and as we increase the magnification, that's all you're getting. So there's no need to run out, not unless you really need something that's going to reach out further. So that being said, we do have a few things coming down the pipe. Vortex USA plays their cards fairly close to their chest, and we're actually sometimes the last to know right the day before, or maybe we even catch it on YouTube sometimes. One of the cool things that maybe your viewers have already seen is we watched a cool video that Vortex USA put out, and I knew it was coming, but I didn't know to the extent of the product that was being launched. But the United States military is looking for a new weapons platform, a new caliber 6.8. And so when they put the bid out for that, they put bids out for new optics. So Vortex Canada did release it just the other day, a couple days ago, that we won that contract. And it's something out of Star Wars, man. It's just phenomenal. It's crazy. but it's built on a low power 1-to-8 variable, but it's got all the hooplas and gadgets and everything. So without me going into spending hours talking about it on this podcast, if you're interested, the listeners, just shoot over to the Vortex USA website, and right on their homepage, they've already got that up there that you can click on it. And there's a podcast that the boys, Jimmy and the guys put together down there, and it goes into great detail. And it just gives you a little bit of an insight just where Vortex is, where we are in the industry, and where we're going. Like we're always 3 steps ahead. The guys are always working and always improving. A lot of the stuff that you see today that we are using our Vortex products, a lot of the changes that happens because of the customer. Whether you're calling in and you're talking to me and you pitch me an idea, it's good that the listeners know that those ideas or those comments don't fall onto deaf ears, that we take that and we send it in the right direction. And if there's some validity to it, maybe something down the road happens with it. So as we move forward and we see these new products come out, a lot of the changes that happen is because of the feedback from the customer at the customer level.
Yeah,
so
I will. Sorry, Reg, to cut you off. I will post that. So this is Wednesday night. I'll post it on Thursday morning. That video, I'll post it up on all our socials just so that people can, watch it. And then when they get ready to listen to the episode, they'll be like, oh yeah, that was the video Damien showed the other day. So I have that video. I'll definitely post that up.
Yeah, the cool thing is in the video there is some hints to the public that maybe in the future here, we can see it, that the technology will eventually fall down and come down, streaming down to the consumer level. So it's exciting times to see where this stuff is really going.
Big time.
Yeah.
And that's a huge contract too. Like that's a huge contract to be able to supply optics for a military, let alone the American military. That's a huge contract and a big pat on the back to Vortex for sure.
Yeah, talk about job security. There's a lot of zeros behind that. So you're crunching some numbers. There's a lot of zeros. So we're here to stay. We're definitely not a flash in the pan. We've already made our mark in the industry, but this just lets your viewers know that the direction that we're headed in. So.
And you know what? And that's a good point. And we can talk about it because it's something that we've talked about on this show a number of times. But personally, so let's go back to about 8 months ago when I reached out to you. We had talked about getting you on the show, and then we started talking about, well, how can Vortex? And I remember you saying, listen, how can Vortex help out Punisher Waterfowl and stuff? And I said, well, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how Vortex fits into the waterfowling world, right? Other than binos. And then you and I got talking and we really started figuring things out. And then I really started to pay attention to, Vortex's ambassador program and their sponsorship program and how heavily invested that Vortex and Vortex Canada, how much they're invested into making sure that their product is out there, it's being used and abused, and the results are being showcased. In a world where, especially in this hunting world, everybody seems like they need to be sponsored, or they need to have be an ambassador, or needs to be getting free stuff, because ultimately that's what it comes down to for a lot of people. But from a business standpoint, Vortex was very, in a class of their own in the way that they had done it, because they had branched out to, just bird watching, to long range shooting, to Western style big game hunting, to deer, to turkey, it just a huge scope, and was managed to get somebody in each individual field to be able to promote their gear. And you look anywhere now, and Vortex, not that Vortex was small before, but Vortex is everywhere right now.
Yeah, the one thing that Vortex has done very, very well is branding. I'm looking at you guys, and my closet is 90% Vortex, right? And looking at you guys wearing the Vortex gear.
Yeah.
I was getting gas down at a little gas station down the road on the weekend, and 2 of the 3 people that were there getting gas were wearing Vortex gear, and they all know me from the area. But you're right. You're right. It seems like it's everywhere. There's no lack of people that want to join the team, that's for sure. And we've made some good changes to our teams, or I should say our team in Guelph. We brought on Neil. He's been a rock star for us. He really shines at his job, and he's really the one behind making some changes to our ambassador program. So it was pro staff, now we're into the ambassador program. So he's really taken that by the reins, and I think taking it in a really good positive direction. Not that it wasn't before, but we've kind of make it what we really think it should be. And the people that we have involved now with it, including you guys yourselves, are rock stars. Everybody's there. It's not about the product. It's for us. It's to get the product into people's hands that need it, but it's also to support the person with the product. So we do a lot for charity, as you know, but the more that we put ourselves out there, we actually get so much feedback from that. And just, I'm going to say on a weekly basis, if it's on a weekly basis on my end anyways, I could say that I field calls and it's like, thanks, man. Thanks for sending this out to us for whether we're doing a fundraiser. We're very much heavily involved with Wounded Warriors and support from the services and stuff. So yeah, we're everywhere. We're supporting charities. We're putting the gear in the hands of the people that are going to use it in the field, and it's paying back big dividends for us. Yeah, so it's been really good.
So I don't want to downplay any of your other ambassadors or people involved with it, but I got to ask, how did you get Carey Price? Are you in on that?
I wish, you know what, man, I wish I could say I had that, but that was like, I heard a little bit of chatter a while ago, and then it just kind of fell off my radar. And then yeah, it was 2 days ago, I got an email, a bunch of us got an email from the office, right? And Carey Price did a nice little video for us, just saying, hi, welcome aboard. And I was kind of taken back. It's like, right on. It's like, this is, we're bringing in the big guns now, eh? Like,
that's right.
And you know what, he is if you really look into Carey Price, and I'm sure you guys have followed him watching his hockey career, but he's just a stellar individual. Like, he does so much for just his community in charitable groups, so he'll fit in really nicely with us.
An outstanding human being. Leave his hockey accolades to
wasn't going there.
No, but seriously, like, you leave his hockey, how successful he is in hockey, but as a human being, like, the man gives so much to the First Nations and his own community, and just an outstanding human being. And you know what? That's a pretty good notch in your belt to be able to say, Carey Price is part of your team. I think it's a pretty cool. When we found out about it, Mark immediately messaged me. He was like, we got to try and get a hunt with Carey Price. And we were laughing, of course. Right. But it's just awesome. Again, just more proof that Vortex.
I'm actually hoping that we get a chance to put some rounds down range with them somewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A little bit of training, but yeah, it'd be fun to do something, right? Get him out doing some duck hunting or something. He's not that far away either, right? So
no, that's right. And again, I think you would be. I think if you, how can I say this? If you have the idea that he's going to walk into a place like he owns it and he's just this stuck up dude, I think you're going to be disappointed, because I think he's just like the rest of us. Just a guy, likes to hunt. He just plays the best goalie in the league, playing in Canada, so he gets a little bit more of attention, right? So,
I'll be the first one to say when I meet the guys, like, I'm not a Habs fan, but I love you as a dude, man. Because just
big
like
time.
my sister-in-law is huge with a Habs fan, and once I said, yeah, we signed him, she's like, what? And she went all googly eyes, and yeah, and those are the types of people that we have in our orbit, and in our circle at the office, and for pro staff, or I guess ambassador now, the ambassador program. It's funny, the owners and just everyone involved, when we bring new staff on, just have a really great knack for picking good, soulful people. We all work together. We all have the same goal. There's definitely no me in it. And that's the kind of people we want to be around. That's what everyone wants to be around, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where you learn. That's where you're going to learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. You surround yourself with good people, man, and good things will happen, right, Mark?
Yeah.
A guy like him, he transcends hockey. He transcends everything. Like if he's involved in hunting, but he's involved in other things, right? And everybody recognizes him. I don't know. In North America, he's probably pretty recognizable right across the continent. I don't know. Can't speak for Mexico, but because he's that much of a star, and we've all seen the videos of how he interacts with his fans and stuff, and that has made him appeal to a broader audience. Like he's so much more than just hockey, right? Like when you guys signed him, that was you hit a home run there.
Yeah. If you can't tell, Mark's a Habs fan.
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
but now that we're here,
I'm surprised he's not wearing like a Habs jersey, right?
Well, I'm surprised he hasn't got something in the background, because he usually does have something in the background just so that he can get on my nerves.
Well, you know something, when we talk about the ambassador program, like it's great to have guys on that come on board with us as part of that team. But even the previous pro staff that we had in the past, like they've been awesome. Everyone that has been a part of us has just had some part, or whether it's a small part or a large part, it doesn't matter. They've had some type of influence on where we are today as a company. And so we got to take our hat off to those people that are no longer maybe associated directly with us, and say, still thank you for your contribution. And but as we move forward, there's so many great people out there just in our country that are so talented, whether waterfowlers, game callers, guides, long range precision shooters, the names just goes on and on, right? To be able to say to someone to come in that wants to come in and be a part of our team at that caliber is just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal for us.
Yeah, and it says a lot about the company, right? So not only is it exciting for the company to be able to say that you've got somebody like Carey Price and then some of the other people that you have, but if you think Carey Price jumped in on this without doing research and making sure that it was the right fit for him, you'd be foolish to think that he just willy-nilly jumped on board with Vortex too, right? So he done his research, and that's a testament to your company, right? To say just how well you guys are operating, because a guy like him is not going to get involved if it's not a top-notch organization.
Yeah, like the video he put out just to say hi to us all, like he made it really clear that he's been running Vortex products for a number of years. So that's really, really great to hear that. So.
Reg, we've, Mark and I and the rest of the lads, we've talked about it a ton of times on the show, and it's great to have you on now. But we've talked about the importance of the scout and scouting when it comes to bird hunting. And I get it. Sometimes you can't always get eyes into a spot where you want to be, but you try your best to get in there, right? And we had a guest on a bunch of months ago, a guy named Bobby Hayes, who owns Ducklander Calls out of Kansas. And he had said that when somebody asks him, what is the first thing they should buy after getting into duck hunting? Excuse me. And he says, before you even buy a call, buy a set of binos. Now, I know when I was looking at binos, it can be somewhat intimidating, especially when you're looking at the Vortex catalog, because there's like 9 million different sets of friggin' binos out there, right? So can you give an idea of, say, a set of binos that should fit in your blind bag, and then a set that you would have in the truck, or when you're doing those long range sitting scouts? What would you recommend?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I agree 100% with him. And so years ago, when I was a kid, I was told, like, again, buying a pair of binos, that was my days long before Vortex. But the binos are an extension of your eyes, right? So, you don't want to go cheap on things you want to see. But the great thing is with the Vortex lineup that we have, and I actually had to pull up my little cheat sheet because I'm the first to tell you that we've got so many SKUs. I can't remember all of the numbers, all the specs, but there's that many SKUs. But to give you an idea, we do have a bino that will fit. It should fit everyone's budget somewhere within there. We don't make a $69 pair of binos, but we do have a pair of binos that will fit you within the Crossfire line, our entry lineup, that will be able to suit your budget, and you will be happy with the product. All of our binos currently right now are all HD glass, so high density glass. So whether you jump in and you start off in our entry line of our Crossfires, or you're up to our top tier of our Razor product, you're gonna be fielding some great glass. The bigger you get, it's simple. The bigger you get and the magnification, the bigger the unit is, and the bigger the unit is, the heavier it is. So when it comes to scouting, because I've done a lot of scouting over the years, same thing. You don't want to be toting around like a 5-pound pair of binos on your chest. Depending where you're going. If you're going to go out and look for ducks, or you're going to go out and spot for some turkeys, you want to have something fairly light and compact, but enough magnification that can get the job done. And we're watching also too, I got to tell you, another little trend that's happening as well, and I've been doing it for years, but seeing more of it, is people are using optics for double duty for different things. Because in some cases, if you need to have a rangefinder and you want a pair of binoculars at the same time, and you got to have one or the other, well, you can use your rangefinder as a monocular because it has magnification, like it has 7 times power. And I find when I'm going out shooting dogs, shooting coyotes, with Pete, we'll pull up and I'll just use a pair of my rangefinder because it's just quick, it's handy, it's light, and I need to have it with me anyways. So instead of carrying a pair of binoculars, maybe I'll roll that in that instance. But for waterfowlers, for you guys, you're going to move into your blind. You're going to have your kit bag with, your gear. So maybe you will want to have something with some magnification. You don't care about that. But for the most part, we kind of figure the 10 by 42s, 1032s are kind of a general kind of binocular that kind of fit the niche for pretty well everything you would need. Once you get past the 10 power and you get into 12 or you get into 15 powers, then you're really getting up there where, you got to be benching 250 pounds type thing to hold these things all day long. They're just way too big. Yeah. Get yourself a tripod type deal. So, but if you are set up and you're looking across a field, say again, if you guys are waterfowling and you're not in a rush, you just want to pick out your spot, you could be standing out there with a tripod and these mounted on a tripod, just scanning along the bank, right, where you're going to set up. So definitely different optics for different applications. Like everything's got its place, but if you only had one choice, just go for a mid-range and it will work.
And the attachments and all the accessories that you guys have designed with your binos, like so for the sake of most waterfowlers, I would say a lot of their scouting is done from the road as they're traveling and driving around and checking out cornfields and whatnot. And when you get into those big magnification binos and trying to hold them, and for anybody that hasn't looked through high power, you don't know how much you shake until you start looking through some high power. But just those just those little mounts that you guys have designed for your car windows, so that your binos can sit on the car window to hold it steady so that you can look out through. It makes a world of difference, because like I said, I know I'm a pretty shaky person when I'm looking through some high powered binos, so I need all the help I can get.
Yeah, well, but you're right, man. It's like those window mounts they're the cat's ass, go to the side. It's just fantastic. You can roll your window up and down, kind of elevate a little bit. You can make adjustments, but you're not holding all that weight, but you still can make use of like a 10, 12, 15 power optic and get those benefits. And anyone that's ever looked through a monocular, like either a smaller monocular or a spotting scope for a long period of time, that gets pretty taxing. You get, man, and I suffer from headaches. So to me, looking through a spotting scope for a long period of time, like that can really be a negative. So looking through a binocular with two independent barrels, it's much more easier to be able to look longer, and it's not as taxing on the body.
Mark, do you want to say something?
I've been running Vortex for quite a while now, and I've had an older set of 12 by 50 Diamondbacks, and those things have done yeoman's duty for me for the longest time. They replaced an old set of Bushnells, and I gave those Bushnells to a buddy of mine. Actually, I gave him to Ryan at the time, and I ran with these 12 by 50s for the longest time. And the reason I got 12 by 50s at the time is because I just wanted to buy one pair of binos. I wanted something that was decent for long range, but still kind of small enough that I could throw them into the blind bag or the backpack or whatever, and they wouldn't be too bad. Now, fast forward to last year, I got the 10 by 28s, the little 10 by 28s, and those are now my favorite pair of binos by far. I mean, I still have the 15 by 56s. Those sit in the truck. That's where they are right now. That's why I don't have them in here to show off, but they sit in the truck, and I always have them in the truck. They're always available to me for scouting, and I can take them from the truck and do stuff. But my 10 by 28s are in my blind bag. I had to go haul them out of the blind bag so I could have them in the kitchen, because we have different kinds of birds in the backyard and stuff, and I just wanted a pair of binos. So now they're up there. But I got to say that the whole going from a 12 by 50 to a 10 by 28 for the bag is like a game changer. That's like, they're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. Yeah, you can have 10 by 42 or whatever, but the 10 power itself to me seems like it's perfect for having in a blind bag.
I think it's a good overall power setting, and I carry a 1032s in my truck, and simply because they're able to fit down in my console easy, and they're not big and bulky, and I can just grab them. You're driving around where we are, you stop, you see some deer in the field or some turkeys, you pull over, you're looking through them. So yeah, I totally hear you on that. And I think sometimes smaller is better. It's not always about the biggest and better. As you go smaller, your field of view, like everything is just opening up. And you're right, you're not as shaky, right? First of all, you're not holding all that weight. And also too, when they're on your chest or you throw them in your pocket, you don't feel like you're walking around with a big brick on the front of you. So sometimes smaller is better the way to go. Scouting, man, if you're doing a lot of time and putting a lot of time on your boots, and especially if you're looking for turkeys, right, looking and doing some calling, seeing where they're roosting, and laying up, like you're gonna do some walking and walking through the bush. And I just find the smaller binos seem to be the way to go. If you're on a boat, or if you're out west, or you're glassing across a large field, then yeah, you're gonna want something bigger. But you're also gonna bring a small, like maybe a tripod, something that's light that you can kind of prop them up, kick back, and relax, and just take your time and glass.
Reg, just for the people that are listening, and just in case somebody don't understand, so when you're talking about like the 10 by 42s and stuff like that, can you explain what those numbers correlate to, just so that when people are hearing those numbers, just so that they know exactly what we're talking about?
Yeah, for sure. So when you see a binocular that's or even a spotting scope or a monocular that's advertised, the first number is going to give you your magnification power. So in this case, we're talking about 10. So it's going to be 10 times the power. And then the second number is going to be your objective lens size. So where Mark was saying, 10 42s or 1032s. 32 millimeter is going to be your diameter of your lens. So why that really matters is when we're talking about larger, the heavier, but at the same time, the human eye can only take in between 2 to 7 millimeters of light through the what we call exit pupil. So if you had a 10 power and you had a 32 millimeter objective and you divide those two numbers, gives you, what is it? My math is horrible. I have to take my shoes and socks off. What's it? 3.2 millimeters. So with that being said, like it's going to give you enough light, even in the lower light settings, that you're still going to be able to see your target image. So those are really important points to think of. So that second number is that's the size of the objective. And that works the same on rifle scopes, monoculars, binoculars, you name it. If it's an optical device and it has an objective cell, it will be measured in millimeters.
That's awesome. Thanks for that. Now, I do know that this is a waterfowl podcast and stuff, but like most waterfowlers, they're dipping their toes into a little bit of everything. So show us this new scope. I watched the original video that come out from the boys down in the States with the fella that upgraded to this one. And he was just giddy about it, like the glass and everything. And he had even said, he was like, this wasn't given to me. I bought this. And this is amazing. And one of the other guys was there. He was actually using one of your competitors' scopes, and he was like, this thing is friggin' amazing. And this is Gen 3, right?
Gen 3. So we started out with the Gen 1 razor, and it's still in our line. Well, I shouldn't say it's in our lineup, but we went from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2, and this is the Gen 3. So this is kind of I want to say the flagship now. We've made they've made some serious changes to it. It wears the same color for the scope for the optic. It looks very similar in size. It's a little bit lighter. It's actually a little bit shorter, but the key important points is it's not the same beast. Totally different. New lens elements. So it's completely different in that manner. Adjustability, they've simplified it. So you can see up top here, if you can see, visit the Vortex website and you can actually get a really good idea and get the link to that podcast that Damien was just talking about. But just making the turret corrections on sighting in with the LTEC turrets, they redesigned it. Switch view throw lever comes with it. It's, I actually mounted it on my Rimfire 22 to play around with it a little bit. And it's just, yeah, it's pretty phenomenal, man. And guys and girls will be buying these and run them on the Rimfire PRS, kind of the Rimfire Precision series, and they'll be out running this kind of thing in the summer. So, if you really want to jump on board and look at it, go onto our website or the Vortex Canada website. But there's just so much going on with this optic. And I think the biggest part is to stress that it is not, it's not the same lens elements that's designed for the Gen 2. It's a whole different beast. So really, really stoked. When I got it, I was just, because that's kind of my forte. I've been doing the long range thing long before it's kind of been the cool thing. And this is just, and as I get older, my eyes are getting bad. So the only way I can deal with that is kind of keep going with the optics, right? Keep upgrading the glass. But it's an amazing optic, 34 millimeter tube. You got lots of adjustability. Same as any other optic in our lineup on the tactical side, MOA, MILRADs if you wish, so you get your choice. Even redesigned the reticle, got a new reticle inside, so she's a brand new baby from the ground up. So one thing that a lot of people will kind of want to go in this direction towards this optic for the long range precision shooters is that it's our largest magnification range to date that we've ever produced. So it's a 6 to 36 power with a 56 millimeter objective. It's 6 to 36. So if you're looking to go ahead and see the flag on the moon, this is probably your best candidate for it. So it's definitely got that magnification, but most importantly, it's got the clarity. So one thing that we talked about first off, when you and I first started chatting way back in the day last year, and we talked about optics a little bit, And I really wanted to stress that it's not about magnification, it's about clarity. So whether it's a pair of binoculars or a spotting scope or rifle scope, clarity is really king. So what's beautiful about this unit, and I've spent some time with it now, is that it delivers on both of those aspects. It delivers on the clarity, and it also delivers on that magnification if you really need it to get out that far.
So
go ahead, sorry.
Just to say, for that magnification, that scope doesn't look like it's like overly large. It looks like it's reasonably compact, actually.
Yeah, to give you an idea, it's no bigger than anything else in our lineup. Whether it's a Gen 2 PST, it's still comparable in length. So to give your viewers an idea, if those people are out there running with that kind of an optic with their Gen 2, it's fairly comparable in size in length. It's a little lighter, a little shorter than our current Gen 2 model of this. So we've shaved a little bit of weight off. They simplified the LTEC turrets, which shaved a little bit of weight as well. But again, there's just so many great things I love about this optic. I really don't know where they're going to go from here. And we said this about the Gen 2 is when that landed in my lap. It's like over the Gen 1 is like, how much better can this actually get? And then what do? You get this sent to you and it's like, holy cow, Stevie Wonder could see through this thing. It's phenomenal. Yeah. So it's, and this is the route that we're taking. All of our products is just, we've got the warranty, we've got the product, we've got the expertise in our staff, in our reps, in our ambassador program to really promote it. And it's great to go ahead and see the products out there and being used within the general public. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping in true form of this show where I jump all over the place, I want you to I want you to sort of give me the answer that you gave me back probably about 4 or 5 months ago, when my buddy Mark knows him, Bill Kennedy, dog trainer. These guys, binos and stuff, they're having them with them all the time. And they had these self-focusing binos. And my buddy Bill said, hey, can you reach out to your friends in Vortex and see if they have something like this? And I remember I messaged you and I was like, self-focusing binos. I'm like, what is that? And it was like, I lit a fire underneath you and you were like, this is my thoughts on self-focusing binos and the stress that you're putting on your eye and all this stuff, the stuff that you explained to me. And I'm like, man, just wasn't expecting anything like this for an answer.
I probably was. Hopefully I didn't say words that I shouldn't have said to you.
No, absolutely.
It's not appropriate for podcast use, but I try to lay it out there, whether I'm talking to you or the customer. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it for you. And another thing is, I'm just not one of those guys that is going to say something negative about another manufacturer's product. I'm just not going to roll that way. But there are a few things you should be looking for when you buy an optic. And one of those things when we think about binoculars is that when you hear the term self-focusing or autofocus, it's like, man, I just pick them up. They're going to do all the work for me and I don't have to tinker around with it. It's good to go. That's not the case. What that comes down to is just simply the manufacturer has taken a pair of binoculars and they've set the focus distance at a certain distance in front of you. So usually it's like either like 30 or 60 feet, or or yards in front of you. It's a short distance. Yeah, I think it's kind of the standard for them. And what happens is when you pick the optic up, and as soon as you pick it up, it's going to be the clearest at that distance. So at 30 yards or whatever the preset distance that they choose, that's going to be the best picture that you're actually going to get of your target image. But our eyes are a self-focusing organism. So when you look at something that's not clear, if you look at it long enough, your eyes will start to sharpen the image up. So with a self-focusing or autofocusing binoculars, the manufacturer is basically betting on the fact that your eyes will compensate. So if you're looking at something with self-focusing binoculars and you say it's 200 yards out downrange at a deer across a field, as soon as you put it up there, it might not look picture perfect, but as you're looking at it, it'll start to clear up slowly, but it's never going to be perfect. And that's what you're paying for. So in the end, the best thing you could do for yourself is to get a pair of binoculars and have them be adjusted for you, because my eyes are different than yours, Damien, right? So we're not going to get the same pair, like adjustability is not going to be the same. So why settle for me to buy a pair of binoculars that's just made for everyone when I'm not everyone? I'm an individual. So to be able to get a pair of binoculars that you can adjust for each one of your barrels on your binoculars to suit each one of your eye strengths. And that's another thing, is that each of our eyes, it's very rare that you would have an individual with the same strength of eyes, eye in the left and the right. So you need to compensate by that. And having a pair of binoculars that allows you to adjust for that will allow you to, once they're set up properly, you can view longer, and you're not going to be dealing with the headaches and the strain all the time. So your buddy, maybe his binos are working out well for him and they're serving the purpose. But I think if he got himself into a good pair of quality binos that he could adjust for himself, and he's glassing for a long period, he would notice the difference.
Yeah, big time. I'm sure. That dog training community, when I rolled up to a test back in the summer, and the judges and everyone's walking around and they're trying, they're placing targets and stuff like this, and they're trying to pace it out and going up and down, lows and highs and stuff, and they're trying to figure out how far it is. And I pulled out that rangefinder that I have. The amount of people that looked at me and said, "Man, that's a good piece of kit," and I'm like, saves you from guessing. And I'm horrible. And now I need to preface this by saying I am horrible at judging distance. I am absolutely horrible at it. So I definitely need to have that in my pocket. And we actually Mark and I did a good video back the fall for the rangefinder out on Camden Lake, where I showed how we use it with regards to setting our decoys from where we are in the blind to where our decoys are to where our kill shot is, and we used our rangefinder for that. So the tools are there, but for some reason it's either the education isn't there, that people don't know this is something to use for that aspect, or in my case, somebody told me real duck hunters don't need a rangefinder. So well, you know what? I pounded a lot of ducks when I was a kid out on the bay, and I can tell you, I missed a lot of ducks too. So this is just about setting up right, man. Like, if you got the tools, why not use them? So from what I'm getting, what you're telling me, you're setting your ducks out. You know your maximum range that you want to hit the ducks. Yep. So if they come in on the ducks, you know where they are. So think about your days back in the infantry. It's like setting up a range card, right? You know exactly where everything is and where it's coming in. So I think that's a responsible hunting, if anything, and it's a great tool to have. Rangefinders, if you're in the field, there's no reason why you shouldn't have them. You can use them as a monocular, again, as a makeshift binocular. Something you can use so you can see the object. You're not going to be pointing a rifle scope at something, especially if someone's standing there. So use your rangefinder if you need to range something, like putting your ducks out. But there's a lot of kit on the market for optics that will do double duty, and rangefinders are one of those pieces of kit. Yeah. So if you can't afford a pair of binos and you need a rangefinder, just go buy a rangefinder. And for now, you can double duty as a makeshift monocular. But now I'm hearing so many fellas that are adding the rangefinder. So again, excuse me, just on proximity to roads and proximity to houses and the regulations on where you're allowed to hunt and stuff. There's no question, because they carry a rangefinder with them and they go, "I'm good." Rangefinder said, bang, here I am. I'm good. Nobody can say nothing, because I've taken the guesswork out of it. I've taken error out of it, and I'm good now. So, it's just like you said, it's another tool to have in your toolbox that can either make you more responsible, probably a little bit safer and more ethical, which is my reasoning on using it when I set out my decoys and stuff, because I only want to shoot birds at 30 yards. Any further than that, I really don't want to shoot them. And this way I know I'm not getting cripples. So this is the reason why I do this. Mark, I've been doing a lot of talking, buddy.
Well, a lot of your listeners too are running. You guys, and Mark, you're a turkey hunter, you know, like you guys go
every day
too, right? So, you know, having a rangefinder is just a responsible way, especially when you're powdering your shotgun. It's just a responsible way of being an ethical hunter as well. Is that you know exactly where your limits are, and whether you physically mark it or you can see it and you know it. It's like use the rangefinder to your advantage. So, and the rangefinders that we have in our lineup, even our Impact, our least expensive rangefinder, is going to do, you know, pretty well everything the average hunter out here in Ontario is going to encounter. Whether you're in a tree stand or you're pounding ducks out on the bay and you want to set up your decoys, or if you're going to shoot deer or turkeys. So you don't need to go out and spend the mortgage money, but it is a good piece of kit. And it's amazing the amount of people that don't have them, and that's fine. But that's what education comes into, like the podcast saying, hey man, it's like, if you could swing a few bucks, send a few bucks, ask for it for Christmas, for your birthday, whatever. But once you get one, you'll find that you're always pulling it out. And when you said about ranging too, right? Like, like how many guys out there and girls don't really know, if you were standing out there side by side and you picked out an object, can you tell me how far? And it could be like 100 yards. And they no, it's like 150 yards. Like, unless you got someone that's really switched on, that's been doing it a long time. It's a good training tool. It's an excellent training tool. It's like a wind meter. When I first started shooting as a kid, I, guessing wind, walk around with a wind meter on and get a feel for things, right? So it's a piece of kit that I think more people should have on their person, for sure.
Big time. We're getting close here, boys. Mark, did you have something?
I was just going to say, with the rangefinder this past year, I got one of the turkeys. It was 42 yards on the rangefinder, and that's approaching the very outer limits that I'll take a shot at a turkey. I'm not one of these people that likes to take 50, 60 yard shots, but because I knew it was 42, I was confident. I got the turkey. The moose that we got in the fall, that was at 70 yards. I didn't need a rangefinder for that, but I still use it. I wanted to see. And the deer I got was that before the deer came in, I had ranged different trees and objects around me. So I knew where everything was. So then when the deer came in, I was like, okay, it's at 18 yards. It's like, it was easy, right? But the rangefinder kind of gave me that confidence to, exactly where everything is. You're not messing around, right?
Like, I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but it's been brought up now a couple times, and Reg brought it up, like being in the Army and using your range card. Mark, you were ex-infantry, so you used a range card. I've used a range card. So, and for anybody that's listening and don't understand, so what we're doing is when we're in our position, so say, call it your blind, your tree stand, wherever it is that you're hunting from, you pick objects that's in front of you and you say, okay, that rock is 50 yards away. And you sort of write it down so that you can remind yourself that if the target comes in and it's at that rock, okay, that rock is 50 yards away. And all it is just a reminder for you of what your surroundings are and what distances are. And, and this is where I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, because I'm sure a lot of people do that anyways. But it is such a muscle memory thing for military guys to do something like this, right? And that is another little trick to sort of put in your back pocket, that when you get out there, listen, unless you're doing a whole different type of hunting than I'm used to, I'm usually sitting there doing nothing for a long time before the action starts. So what better way to kill some time than to sort of make yourself a mental range card and get those distances and stuff like that. Boys, we are getting close to running out of time. And Reg, I really did want to talk to you about turkey hunting is coming up, and red dot scopes are really becoming something that a lot of turkey hunters are starting to invest the money in. A lot of them are going out and building their own turkey gun now, putting a red dot onto it. I've never used a red dot, so to you're the expert. Explain to us the red dot and why turkey hunters are starting to make this jump.
The crazy thing is, not only turkey hunters, but the last few years, I've seen a jump in waterfowl hunters going to red dots. And I had an old timer talk to me, and he said, and he grew up living down on my neck of the woods in Hay Bay. He's saying, I was deer hunting with a red dot. I put it on my shotgun because I said, even when I was pointing and you're not really using the bead so much, you just kind of point and shoot. And he goes, but I found that it was so easy for me to lead the ducks. At least I can get it on the ducks real quick. And so he's been running with it. And I've seen more guys call me up and ask me about that. So things, once again, are playing double duty, right? You can use them for different applications. But turkey hunting, absolutely. When you're to turkey hunt as a responsible hunter, you should be patterning your shot to understand how far away you are and what kind of pattern you're getting. And if you're running with granddaddy's old shotgun with a bead on the end, there's not much to use as an actual aiming tool, because you actually want to try to put that pattern in that neck and head area. So running with a red dot gives you the ability to make a sight adjustments to move your pattern where it needs to be, and so you don't you're not a Hail Mary. So you can actually move your pattern where you need it to be, so it can be accurate on your game animal and your bird. So that, and we're seeing it as we get older, us other guys and girls, it's nice to have that red dot because it's so easy to pick it up and point it. I don't have to worry about trying to find the bead on the shotgun or trying to line up some sights on it. It's just a dot. I'm going to put it on the target and let the bird have it. There's so many benefits, a few little negatives along the way. The biggest thing is a red dot is not for everyone. Like, I have astigmatism. I got a slight degree of astigmatism. So when I look through a red dot, I don't run one on my pistol, but on a shotgun, I'll run it for turkey because it's not that bad where I don't get a lot of flaring, but there's a little bit. It almost looks like a cluster of grapes a little bit. So it's not that perfectly round circle. So if you fall into that category, you're not a Jerry's kid. You don't need to have a telethon or anything for you. It's just the way the things are. Some people have a bit of astigmatism, some don't. But if you find that you have a really serious degree of astigmatism and you look through it and it just looks like a big ball like the sun and flaring off it, then I would say don't purchase a red dot. Another alternative would be a prismatic optic. So it's kind of in between a red dot and a more traditional scope where you have a lens and the reticle is etched on a lens and you have illumination so you can turn it on, but you won't get that flaring effect.
Right.
And for turkey hunting too, because like you said, it's coming up soon. Because of the distances, you don't necessarily need to have any magnification. So you're not going to get any magnification with the red dot. A lot of times it's just one-time power. So what you see with the naked eye is what you're going to get. But if you do want to have magnification, you can get a magnifier that will actually fit onto the firearm, and it'll actually flip in and out of the way. So it's not permanent, but it will give you a 3 or a 5 times or whatever magnification you want with your unit. We do have a new magnifier that just came in our lineup as well. So red dots are extremely popular. I think it's the way to go. If you're a turkey hunter, get one on it. They're not overly expensive. Once again, you can double duty. You can run it on your shotgun for turkey. If you're a slug gun hunter, you can switch out your barrel and run slugs, and you're gonna be hunting deer. And it's a much more accurate way to go about it for sure. And they're not expensive. We have the Viper and the Venom. And once again, with our warranty, which we haven't touched on, but our warranty is we have the VIP warranty. And to keep it very simple for people out there that's listening, we don't need a receipt. We don't need any of that. The product is a receipt. As long as you don't, basically, guys and girls, as long as you don't lose a unit, we stand behind it. And if it's 20 years down the road and something happens to it, we'll replace it or fix it if we can.
And we can attest to that, Mark, because we've had a couple buddies that have severely damaged stuff, and it was easy. Call it up and a new product. If it couldn't be fixed.
I want to keep you happy.
Yeah.
I've seen guys selling a Vortex scope. I can't remember. This was 5-6 years ago. And someone had done their own little custom paint job on the scope. So it was a normal black scope. He painted it white with some cam on it. And it was just full of paint. And I was thinking to myself, there's no way that can get under warranty. And I hadn't seen some of the circumstances that have been under warranty by you guys, which I've seen since. And so I just emailed Vortex right there. I said, hey, this is a scope I found. It's for sale on the internet. I said, if something happened to it, is it still under warranty because of what's been done to it? And they said, yeah, absolutely. As long as you can tell it's Vortex, he said.
Yeah, and that's it. And our warranty department is top notch. Like, just put a little plug in there. I know we're running short.
No,
but
go for it.
You know, for the most part, like our warranty crew, we get it landed into our shop. Our turnaround time is under a week, and sometimes it's much shorter than a few days. Not to put any pressure on them when they're listening to this, but it's very quick. It's a good turnaround time. I just dealt with a customer, you know, Mark, actually this week, and he bought a used scope off. I don't know where he got it from, the internet or wherever he got it from. And actually, he's sending it in, but I'm pretty positive that it was crushed. Like, the previous owner over tightened the rings and damaged the scope. So we're not able to repair that. That's not a repairable thing. So that individual is going to get a replacement. Now, I'm not saying for everyone to do that. I'm just saying that if that's the case, it accidentally happens, and life happens. We've all made mistakes. And if you over tighten your rings and you're not, well, that's why we have education, right? We have videos, you can speak to us and you can call me up and we'll walk you through the process. But if something happens, we're here for you. We really are. And whether you spray bomb the thing and you want to put some paint on and some camo, and it, I don't know, you back over and run over it with the truck accidentally, we're still gonna stay behind the warranty.
I remember the first. I
don't want to give your listeners any ideas, that's for sure, but it is good to let them know that we are here for you.
I remember the first time I met Peter Ray. I was working for an organization not far from Kingston, and Peter had come out to sort of to talk about Vortex and talk about the optics and how awesome and everything was, and he's doing his pitch, right, and the owner of the business is listening in and stuff like this. And then Peter goes into the warranty, right? And I still remember the owner going, well, not everything, right? And Peter's like, 100%, regardless, if you break it, we're going to replace it. And he was like, how are you guys still in business? And I still remember, and Peter just going, this is what we do. Like, this is our warranty, regardless. No questions asked. We just, as long as it's, if it's Vortex,
yeah. As long as it's functioning the way it should, there's no need to call it a warranty product and to send it in. The only thing we don't cover is cosmetics. So if you scratch the outer side of your binos or your scope body, like that's not a functioning thing. But if you scratch the lens on your binos just from daily use or something, you can give me a call and say, hey, Reg, I'd like you to, can you send him in? Can you fix up my lens? And the chances are our crew will take care of you and get them. They'll go over it top to bottom and send it back to you. So our customer service is what we're known for. That, of course, in our product line and our warranty, whatnot. But the customer service, when you call, it's not animated. Like, you'll call me up and either you're going to reach out to Daryl, the first point of contact, or he'll put you over to me. We have a new guy that's on too, Ken Thiessen. He does the same job as I do right now, and you'll get one or two of us guys and we'll take care of you. And we're not going to fool around. It's like, if it needs to be replaced, we'll replace it. But the chances are everything that comes in to a certain degree, besides crushed tubes on scopes, we can repair it. And when we send it back out, when you get it back in your hands, it's going to be functioning just the way you expect it to function.
And as good as new.
Good as new.
Awesome.
So, and that's a selling feature for us, because, if you're going to buy a pair of binos and the missus might say, this is your X number of dollars that you have to work with. And then you can go back and say, you know what? If I spend an extra $50, I can go up into this next grade from maybe Diamondback to Viper, because it's an investment, right? And that's right. When we go do shows, I hear that all the time. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to actually go up a little bit, because it's not like buying a TV. You buy a TV for what, $1,000? You go up to the counter to pay for it, and she says, well, it's 30-day warranty, but for $1,500, for an extra $500, I'll give you 2 years. Like, with us, you just see what the sticker price, you pay it, and
Yeah.
that's it, and we'll take care of you.
Awesome, buddy. We're going to have to get you back on again, Rich, because there's a bunch of other stuff that I wanted to talk about and pick your brain about, and we just didn't get a chance. But what I will do is I'm going to start spreading on our socials a ton of stuff. I'm going to spread about your book because you've got a couple, right?
Oh yeah, actually, we've got one out. This one here is a program that it's called the Operational Tactical Optics program, and it's actually being worked on. We assume it's going to be syndicated out to military and law enforcement only, but I'm working right now, and I will have a civilian version of that for hunters and target shooters, which has a lot of the same content. But it will be coming out this spring, and it'll be offered on the Vortex website, and it'll be offered worldwide anyways. But it's an actual firearms optics training program. So you can go from zero to hero with this one training manual and follow it step by step and learn about binos, spotting scopes, rifle scopes, long range precision shooting, the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Awesome. We're going to get you back on. I'm going to promote these books and a couple other things that I want to show off that Vortex has on the go. But we do need to get you back on because I want to pick your brain a little bit more. And I know Dave and Phil had a bunch of questions they wanted to ask too. So it'd be good to get you back on down the road and have all four of us on and maybe Ryan even back then too. So Reg, buddy,
I'll see if we can get Carey Price on with us, right?
Buddy,
if you're gonna aim, come on, aim big.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, buddy, I've been doing that my whole life. If you're gonna go, just go all in, right? Just swing for the moon, man, and swing for the fence, and hopefully it works out for you. Reg, buddy, thanks so much for doing this. Oh, sorry,
you're welcome, guys. Yeah, what I will say, just one thing is, next time I'm back, I'll have some good stuff to pass on. Okay.
Yeah,
that's new and upcoming.
Yeah, awesome. Can't wait. Mark.
Good meeting you in person. Well, in person on video, Reg. We have chatted a few times, but this is way better to actually talk face to face. Great information, great stuff from you. And I got to get one of your books, maybe get it autographed, and
that just devalues it, man. It's not worth nothing, man. Yeah. But on that note, one thing that I will say, and I know we got to leave, and I keep saying this, but one of the things that really attracted me to our Vortex Canada, to you guys, is that me being an ex-waterfowl growing up on the bay, that was one area, like a facet of hunting that really was kind of on the back burner. Everyone was about long range shooting or deer hunting or archery, but waterfowl just didn't get the attention that it needed. So very, very glad to see you guys take this in the direction that you are, and the followers, right? You guys are getting a good little following here, and really proud of the work that you guys are doing. So stay with it.
No, thanks, buddy. And we've said it a million times, but thank you for, taking a chance on us. And when, there's a million people like us, taking a chance on us, meant the world. And it's because of those relationships that we are growing, right? Because it shows that it legitimizes us when a company like Vortex is backing us. It only makes us look good, right? So it works both ways, buddy. It has to be a two-way street. Both people have the benefit, right? So again, dude, I can't thank you enough. You and Neil have been absolutely amazing. Peter, good dude. I was going to try and get his sons out for a duck hunt this fall, and it just didn't get done. But we will be in touch. I'm really going to think about this red dot now. I'm really, really going to think about this. So I'll be picking your brain some more on the red dot. But with that, Reg, buddy, thanks so much for coming on. We will have you on again.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 81 of Union 0430. Another great episode, and we are as advertised. Just a bunch of regular dudes that love talking about hunting, love one another's company, and just hanging out on a Wednesday or Thursday night. Keep following, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all those other fancy catchphrases that helps us grow. Please, and thank you for your support. Big love until next time.